It's the claritas, the luminosity of holiness. And so our resurrected, glorified bodies, luminous with the holiness of God.
Hello everybody and welcome back. This video highlights the miracle of a nun's incorruptible body and its theological implications as explained by Bishop Barron. Check this out.
It was over a year ago that a Kansas City religious congregation exhumed their founder, Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster, so they can move her body inside the Abbey Church. What they found is what has many flocking to the convent. The nun's body seemingly well preserved despite not being embalmed or receiving any other treatment before her burial. Now medical professionals are weighing in. The nuns at the Benedictines of Mary, Queen of Apostles Monastery in Missouri just got the results of a new report on the remains of Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster. The body of their founder was found intact last year, 4 years after her death. And now medical experts commissioned by the Diocese of Kansas City St. Joseph have determined her body shows no signs of decomposition.
As you can see, this happened last year, so I think we need a little bit more evidence. Father Mark Goring provides that evidence. He will explain the final results and the official church declaration of the matter from a few months ago.
Praise be Jesus Christ. This is a huge news item. Just came out yesterday in a CNA report by Tyler Arnold. That's August 22nd, 2024. Okay, headline. Results of medical exam built case for incorrupt body of Sister Wilhelmina, says Bishop. This is the hierarchy of the church making a statement about the possible supernatural phenomena of Sister Wilhelmina's incorrupt body. The results of a medical examination of the body of Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster, OSB, have confirmed that there was no signs of decomposition when her body was exhumed last year. According to a statement by Bishop James Johnston of the Missouri Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph. The study was conducted by medical experts and commissioned by the bishop. So this is official, and this is done by experts.
What this investigation shows is that this is nothing short of a miracle and a supernatural phenomenon. I want to ponder the theological implications of such a finding. Bishop Barron wrote an article entitled Musing on the Teeth of St. Ambrose. In short, Bishop Barron was reflecting upon the dead remains of this saintly figure. This caused controversy, namely from evangelical and Protestants who claim that Bishop Barron was encouraging the worship of dead bodies. Many Protestants are aware of the perceived demonic conflation of the Catholic faith and tribal pre-Christian practices of Aztec cultures. For example, as seen in the Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, if I said that right. I mention this because it shows the uproar and where it's coming from. What are the theological implications of incorruptible bodies? It's Gnosticism, or a belittling of the body as evil and unimportant, which is one side effect of Gnosticism. The body is extremely important, as we see in Christian theology, because it's going to be glorified. Note Bishop Barron's words at the end of this article. One of the oldest and most enduring heresies is Gnosticism, and perhaps the principal mark of this ancient distortion of Christianity is a suspicion of the body. For the Gnostics, the Creator God is a fallen, comprised deity, and the whole purpose of this religious life, of our religious life, in this case, in the Gnostic teaching, is to escape from grubby matter. I like that term. Authentic Christianity has always stood against such dualistic nonsense, and one of the signs that resistance is the unapologetic showing of the impressive teeth of St. Ambrose, and furthermore, as we see from this video, the body of a deceased nun. So to close, deeply reflect on what Bishop Barron teaches from Aquinas on the glorified body and what it will be like, and the importance of having a corporeal, eternal existence in our new spiritual bodies. Check this out.
The way St. Thomas Aquinas describes the glorified body, and you say, oh, isn't he just sort of wildly speculating? Well, no, it's based upon texts such as this and also the texts about the resurrected Jesus. But also, how wonderful that we are thinking about what life will be like on high. And these readings prompt this meditation. Okay, here's the first quality, Aquinas says, of the glorified body. It has identity. That means it is in some very basic way in continuity with these bodies here below. Now, think for a minute, everybody. This body that you see before you Well, is this the same body I had when I was 5 years old? Well, yeah, in a way, because the form and structure of it remains, but heck, every cell, molecule in my body when I was 5 is different now, right? What do the scientists tell us? They're replaced completely every, I don't know what it is, several months or years. The point is there's a kind of discontinuity, even in this life. But yet I say, no, that 5-year-old Bob Barron, who was playing baseball back in Birmingham, Michigan, is the same one standing before you now. There's identity, even though this body is also radically different. Well, so in heaven, there'll be a continuity with this body, but yet a great difference, an elevation, a transformation, a transfiguration. Aquinas says, will people be able to recognize us? Yeah, because it's the same body. But again, think caterpillar butterfly. I'll be myself, but myself at such a higher pitch of perfection. Here's the second trait he thinks of the glorified body. He calls it quality. That means the glorified body will be at the height of its powers, possessing a full integrity. It's as all of us, as we get older, you reach a certain point in life where you're kind of at the height of your powers, and then, let's face it, the powers begin to wane. We weaken. We lose our capacity. I mean, I remember quite vividly when I could still play football and basketball at a pretty high level. Get me out there on a basketball court now, forget it. I mean, those powers have kind of waned. I'm satisfied now with a round of golf. It's because I don't have the physical power I used to have to run up and down a court. Well, in heaven, Aquinas says, there'll be no loss of these powers, but rather we're at the highest pitch. And then thirdly, relatedly, the glorified body, Thomas says, has impassibility. That means it will not change or diminish. So as I say, it's one of the sadnesses of this life, and every poet and novelist in some ways talks about it, is that I change and I diminish, I lose what I have. But no, in heaven, in the glorified body, at the full pitch of my power and integrity, I don't lose that. I retain this perfection of being, impassibility. Fourthly, Aquinas says, this beautiful idea, the resurrected body will have agility. And what he means here is very specific. He means that the body will be able to respond utterly and perfectly to the promptings of the soul. So right now, my body is responding, if you want, to the promptings of my soul. I'm imagining a goal, I'm willing it, and then I'm instantiating it through the movements of my body. Okay, so I've got agility, and I can, please God, in a few minutes, I can walk out of this place back to my car. I've got sufficient agility to do that. But this body of mine can't do everything that I want to do, everything I imagine. I mean, heck, I like to play basketball like Michael Jordan. I like to swing a golf club like Rory McIlroy, but I can't do that. My body can't respond with perfect agility to the promptings of my soul, but Aquinas says in heaven, it can. His justification for this is the resurrected Jesus, who can, yes, even pass through walls. Though the place where they were locked in for fear of the Jews, we hear, Jesus came and stood in their midst. That's the agility of his resurrected body, that we can respond in the wink of an eye to the most extravagant yearnings of our will and imaginings of our mind. That's agility. And then finally, Aquinas says the resurrected body has clarity or luminosity. Claritas in his Latin. And how wonderful it's correlated to the story of the Transfiguration, that Jesus became dazzlingly bright, the light of the Transfiguration. Why is it, this is true even across the cultures, why is it that we associate holiness with light? Why we put halos around the heads of the saints? Why is it that in lots of stories of holy people, light is associated with them? There's that wonderful story, Malcolm Muggeridge, the man who really brought Mother Teresa to the consciousness of the world, that when he went to film in her place there where she cared for the sick and the dying, the lights failed. The lights they had brought failed. And his producer said, it's just not going to work. Let's not do it. And Muggeridge said, no, just go ahead and film anyway. Let's see what happens. And when the film came back, they were astounded because there was this luminosity all through the room that allowed them to film perfectly. What was that? But some anticipation of this claritas of the resurrected body. I, years ago, met this older man who, when he was a young kid in the army, World War II, had heard about this Italian holy man, Padre Pio, and he went with a buddy of his, and they went to serve his mass. And he said to me, and his eyes filled with tears as he told the story, he said, as he lifted the host up, he said, "Father, believe me, I wasn't dreaming." All around his hands and around the host was a bright light. It's the claritas, the luminosity of holiness. And so our resurrected, glorified bodies, luminous with the holiness of God. Think on these things, everybody. As we're making our kind of tough slog through Lent, think of these things. What God holds out to us, eye has not seen and ear has not heard. And let that give you hope. God bless you.